Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to call the August 2nd meeting of the Common Council to order. I will ask the clerk to call the roll to determine a quorum.
Alderperson Reinke. Here. Rhodes.
Here.
Vitale.
Here.
Weigel.
Here.
Barzak.
Here.
Chaplesky. Haas.
Here.
Lysick.
Here.
May.
Here.
Probst. Here. 10 present, none excused.
We have a quorum. I ask that you rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led this evening by Alderperson Reinke. Before we get into the public hearings this evening, we have a presentation. I want to invite up Professor Stan Stojkovic from UW-Milwaukee, as well as Police Chief Mitchell and reps from the West Allis Police Department. And if any Police and Fire Commission members want to join us, they are more than welcome. This is a more the merrier.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, for the introduction. Again, my name is Stan Stojkovic. I'm the Dean of the Helen Bader School of Social Welfare at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I'm also a Commissioner on the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Accreditation Group. I believe, as I discussed with the Mayor earlier today, this is my third visit to the City Hall here in West Allis. I have relatives that don't live too far, but not in West Allis, outside of West Allis. And I always stop by, but it's always a pleasure to come by and to give the accommodation to the department. This certificate of accreditation is something significant. The Wisconsin Law Enforcement Accreditation Group has been in existence for 20 years. There are well over 600 police departments in the state of Wisconsin, depending upon how you count them. Right now, we have close to 60 agencies that are accredited. The West Allis Police Department is in very, very singular company in the sense that they've been accredited for a number of years. I believe this is their fourth accreditation, going all the way back to Chief Youngblood, as well as Chief Paget and now Chief Mitchell. So this is a major accomplishment for the city of West Allis. I think you should be very, very proud. A little bit about accreditation. We, again, have been around since 1996. We have an accrediting team that works with the agency. In this case, we have an accreditation manager. This one is Sergeant Noche, I believe. Yes, sir. Sergeant Noche does, literally, no matter what the chief says, 99% of the work. Because the accreditation really involves a lot of, grit and getting involved in the files and verifying and making sure that things are right. We are not a soft accrediting body. We actually ask for documentation and proof for what people do. There are 239 standards in the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Accreditation Group accreditation manual. You have to comply with every one of them unless you're exempt. And as a result, the chief and his staff has done an outstanding job and warrants this accreditation. We also have a verification program for individuals who only want the core standards of 39 state accrediting standards. We run that program typically for smaller departments, but we try to get people to go through the verification program so they can be accredited eventually. It's a long-term continuous commitment to professionalism. That's what accreditation is, and that's the effort that's been demonstrated here. So I'm very, very honored to be here tonight on behalf of the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Accreditation Group to present this plaque to Chief Mitchell and to his staff. And so, Chief Mitchell, if you could come up, please. Let me just read this very quickly. You can see it's a very nice plaque. You'll see it a little bit later. The Wisconsin Law Enforcement Accreditation Group, be it hereby known that the West Allis Police Department has fully demonstrated its voluntary commitment to law enforcement excellence by its compliance to a body of standards deemed essential to the protection of the life, safety, and rights of the citizens it serves, and has exemplified the best professional practices in the conduct of its responsibilities and therefore is hereby, upon the recommendation of the members of the governing board of the Wisconsin Law Enforcement Accreditation Group, awarded this certificate of accreditation effective the second day of May 2016, and is recognized as a Wisconsin accredited law enforcement agency for a period of 3 years, signed by our president, Greg Peterson. Congratulations, Chief.
I will be very brief. As the dean said, this is really about Phil and Captain Byer, who could not make it today. Phil has been with the program for a number of years, and it is his full-time work, so the credit really goes to Phil and Captain Byer, so thank you very much.
You're looking good.
Yeah, Vince, last time I was here, you were here. Always good to see you.
Yeah, I said, I wasn't going to start or whatever it was. Congratulations. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just three.
Okay, we will move on to item E on our agenda. So we have 3 items up for public hearing this evening. I will ask our clerk to read public hearing number 1.
A hearing on an ordinance to amend subsections 12.06, 12.41, 12.42, 12.43, and 12.45 of the revised municipal code relative to defining and permitting food pantries.
Mr. Stiebel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The purpose of this hearing tonight is to create a new zoning definition, that's of food pantries. And it's going to have a broader description, but primarily what we've discovered is that when we have somebody that wants to do something that's a nonprofit giveaway or charity, we don't have a place for them in our code. And that's what we're going to be doing here with we're calling it a food pantry, but it's a food pantry that gives away goods. And the key part there is the word giving. So it has to be a charitable operation. And it could be for food, clothing, household goods, or soup kitchens. Now, churches are already allowed to do those types of things without this, primarily because that's an accessory use of a church. But if you're going to have a specific purpose for a food pantry, then it must meet this definition. We're proposing that this also be a special use, primarily because of the drop-off areas that allows us to more adequately regulate and control and to keep those sites clean and clear. The other big issue is whether it should be in C2 areas, which are neighborhood commercial and above, or C3, which get closer to a more regional use. This is all the areas that would be C2 and above that they could, and if it was just, if C2 were excluded, it would be that. So that's the difference is to, as you can see, there's a lot of additional areas that are in C2. C2 is supposed to be for your neighborhood uses where you would walk to from your neighborhood for those types of services. And so that's why we're proposing that, particularly like a soup kitchen or something, you're going to be lined up against around people's homes and stuff like that. So we're suggesting that we may want to consider it as a C3 only, C3 and above. So this are all the areas in the city that it would be allowed. So the Plan Commission has reviewed this, has recommended approval, and they've recommended that the council consider the C3. We've received no objection to date. If you have any additional questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there any comments or questions from the members of the Common Council?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman Weigel?
I'd like to just make note of the fact that I think there's a big difference between a food pantry and what we're calling a soup kitchen. A food pantry is typically a location where people will come and get groceries that they will take home and prepare in their home kitchen. I don't have a real big problem with that. I think it's a you know, we have a lot of people of need here in our community, and I think it's a very valuable service. The soup kitchen, on the other hand, at least to my way of thinking, is a location that creates and serves hot meals for people, okay? And this, to my own personal knowledge, can become a magnet for homeless people. Not to say that homeless people shouldn't get, be taken care of, but I think that a soup kitchen can have a much bigger impact on a neighborhood. And again, I've seen that in one of our neighborhoods versus a food pantry. Food pantry, people come, get their stuff and go. The soup kitchen, people know that the door opens at noon and people come from literally miles around and across the county to a neighborhood to get fed. And I think that has a much bigger impact and should be looked at with a much sterner eye. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other comments or questions from the council? Seeing none, are there any members of the audience that have comments or questions on this public hearing?
Yes, hello. Robert Brown, 2160 South 86th Street. I'm with Stop the Violence. That's a nonprofit group and represent Christian Civil Liberties Union. And I want to take you back approximately 30 years ago. And I'm sort of glad for the change, and I got something to say to Mr. Weigel that sort of brings me back to 30 years ago, how people were opposed to what was going on. And it was this. I slept outside the city hall. We were here. When I hurt myself at work, I wanted to do something Christian-like, so I thought I'd work with the homeless and so forth. So I tried to get the city of West Allis to do something about it, to set me up with a place where homeless could sleep and whatnot. I was loudly, run out of the city hall. So finally, I got a food pantry, and I was working with 2 ministers. None of us were paid anything. I funded everything myself from my money I got as severance when I hurt my back at work. And so we got this food pantry. It was a liquor store, former liquor store, on Beloit Road near Lincoln, and we set it up. And we had naysayers back then, people that didn't like it. They said, oh, they're going to bring in the riffraff from the inner city. And the people that run that place heard about it. So what do you think they did? They had the police come to the door, and my 2 pastors or that were just starting to be pastors working with me, paid nothing. They threatened to arrest them if they didn't shut the door immediately. As a matter of fact, we had to shut the door down. They didn't want the slummy people, the riffraff, or as he mentioned, these people, Mr. Weigel mentioned, tracing in from Milwaukee. Let's keep them out of the fair city of West Allis. So we went across the street, there was a place, and we set it up there, and we had a lot of clothing and food. And I ran that for 3 months till I ran out of money. We didn't really solicit any money then. And finally, a man came along who worked with me, and he had money, and he set it up. So we, when we were leaving there, the latter days we were there, we couldn't think of a name, and my wife said, why don't you call it the Good Samaritan Outreach Center? And we did, and that place is still running, although I had nothing to do with it since it moved over here on Beecher Street on about 57th near the barber shop. And it reminds me of the same thing here. Every so worried wart, be worry about what's going on, what kind of riffraff are going to come here. Don't worry so much about it. If you're doing a kind Christian thing, quit being such a worrywart. Now, I know you can't respond to me on this, but it seems like, here we go again. Let's worry about who's coming here. Let's make that a big priority instead of what we're doing. Reminds me of what we went through 30 years ago. So anyway, I hope we don't have to go through this anymore. And the worry warts about who might come to the food pantry and who might not come there. And I'm just going to bring this up. It's sort of a jab at the alderman, but all the people in Milwaukee are saying Black Lives Matter and the rich white people don't like us. Well, it's remarks like Mr. Weigel that stir that up. Just thought I'd remind you of that. Thank you.
I'm Violet Brown. That's my husband. I live at 2160 South 86th Street. And I just want to say it's good that this is happening because I want my husband's reputation to be cleared. when he was running the Good Samaritan, he was with volunteers, and things were happening that they thought that maybe some hanky-panky was going on. After a while, a Mr. Al Knife took over, and we were very thankful for him. He was a wonderful man. He had to pay for the gas and electric and all kinds of other stuff. But he thought that my husband and others were taking money from the Good Samaritan, in which he didn't. He volunteered. A lot of churches gave, a lot of people came, they were helped. So I just want to say I want my husband's reputation cleared, because he was not that kind of a man. And we're thankful that Mr. Al Knife took over the Good Samaritan. He was a wonderful man, and I know that he did so many wonderful things, so we want to thank him too. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else in the audience have comments or questions on this item for public hearing?
Hello, some of you already know me. My name is Deborah Sainer Gonzalez. I run a small food pantry and actually soup kitchen here in West Dallas already. We're located inside of a little chapel. And yes, we do have people that come from the outside of the city, just around this area though. I don't see it as being a big problem with that. You know, and unfortunately, we haven't recognized the fact that we do have homeless people here. They're camped outside on the grass, and they need to be fed. So we provide them with that twice a week. It's not something that happens on a regular basis every day. So, I mean, C3 would be great. C2 would even be better for us because it gives us a little more options. We're a nonprofit, 100% community donations. We don't ask for grant money. We don't ask for money from the city. Our community is supporting this mission. So we would, C3 would be great, but C2 would be even better. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else in the audience have comments or questions on our first item? Okay, seeing none, we will close public hearing number 1, and I will ask the clerk to read public hearing number 2.
A hearing on the special use permit for The Farmer's Wife, a new business to occupy the first floor of the existing mixed-use building located at 6531 through 6533 West Mitchell Street.
Mr. Stiebel?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Located at the corner of 66th and Mitchell is the former PM Pub that is being proposed to be a new restaurant, The Farmer's Wife. It's zoned C2, which is the appropriate zoning district, but because it's a restaurant, it requires a special use, and that's the purpose of the hearing. The special use will occupy a ground floor as a restaurant, and the second floor is an apartment. The facility would typically require 11 parking spaces. 9 are provided, including ADA. There's ample parking because this is a commercial node in that particular neighborhood. There's ample parking around the neighborhood. The hours of operation are noted as above. These are the hours of operation of the restaurant. The liquor license is a separate issue. Also proposing to have a new outdoor patio in this dark area here, which will be fenced in. And the landscaping that is on the site, there's a previously approved landscaping, excuse me, landscaping plan. The current owner has gotten everything up to snuff, and there really aren't any major landscaping issues. There are just some minor details, like we need to know a little bit more about the outdoor patio before that's finally approved, and some minor maintenance issues and a signage permit. The Plan Commission has reviewed this, has recommended approval, and we've received no objections to date. If you have any questions, I or the owner would be glad to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Mr. Stiebel. Are there comments or questions from the members of the Common Council on this public hearing? Seeing none, are there any members of the audience that have comments or questions on this item? Very good. Seeing none, we will close public hearing number 2, and I will ask our clerk to read and I believe also present public hearing number 3.
A hearing on the 2016 through 2017 combination Class A liquor license application number 2338 of Parthenon Foods Incorporated, Danny C. Sarandos, agent, doing business as Parthenon Foods, for the premises located at 8415 West Greenfield Avenue, a new non-existing location in regard to exceeding the quota. And the City of West Allis has a municipal quota of 20 Class A licenses. Currently, there are 24 Class A licenses granted or issued. Parthenon Foods Incorporated, Danny Sarandos, agent, and doing business as Parthenon Foods, filed an application on June 9th, 2016 for a new combination Class A liquor license at 8415 West Greenfield Avenue for the license year beginning July 1st, 2016. Pursuant to the West Allis Revised Municipal Code, the Common Council may, by a majority vote, grant or issue new licenses in excess of the quota. Mr. Sarandos initially appeared before the License and Health Committee on July 5th, 2016. The applicant is also available to provide further comments or answer any questions relative to his request for a new license at 8415 West Greenfield Avenue. 4 written objections have been received by the City Clerk's office. Thank you, Mayor Devine.
Thank you, Clerk Schultz. Are there any comments or questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine,
Alderman May.
I just want to quickly acknowledge, in addition to those letters that were received, I had personally received calls from Super Bottle, Town Beer, Express Pantry, Olympia Foods, and Walsh's expressing, I guess, their vote against this business. I just want to make sure that they know that I received those calls and to relay that information to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Varsak.
Just a couple, to the clerk, if you go through your memory, if you were election, all these applied for a license, I think, in 2007 after they did, built a store in West Allis. Was that, they were denied, I believe?
That's correct.
And the reason was because of over quota?
The municipal quota.
And then I think in 2009, Target did a $10.35 million revamp of the store and came for a license, and they were denied?
Yes,
And the reason, again, was?
based on the municipal quota.
And the last time, can you remember any time since you've been city clerk that we've gone over quota for a Class A?
Since the 1997 quota ordinance, there have been no licenses granted or issued over the municipal quota for Class A.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the Common Council?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Vitale.
you know, sometime we have to more or less kind of look back the owner of, right now, I mean, he's been running a grocery store and a liquor license over on 92nd and Cleveland. So we have really a stable business people, you know, they've been around for a long time. And to me, I mean, try to attract, you know, somebody to enhance their business within our community. I believe it would be something that we should kind of look into it. To me, I mean, it would be an improvement just as well for the area, you know. I mean, even though I understand there was no license there for a while, you know, but these people here,
Mayor Devine,
they're out there to invest.
Alderman Lysick.
this is a public hearing. This is not the proper time for us to be debating the issue. This is the time for us to ask any pertinent questions of the city clerk and to listen to what the public has to say regarding the issue. Our time to debate and to bring up our opinions is during the committee meeting or on the council floor when this item is going to be voted on.
Well, I understand, Alderman Lysak, but the fact that is, I have to kind of sometime to lay out some of the things that sometimes we don't have the time to, you know, to discuss a certain issue, you know, at the meeting itself. So to me, I think I like to, because sometimes, you know, if I do know that something is really valuable for somebody to come in our city to to different locations to do business, that's why I like to bring it out and address that, to make an open statement. And I understand that, the rules that we follow.
Any other comments or questions from the Common Council?
Mayor Devine?
Alderman Weigel.
I do have a question for the city clerk and for the rest of the council. I seem to recall at a time West Allis Cheese and Sausage wanted a Class A license because they were doing cheese baskets and they wanted to be able to put wine in with the cheese baskets. And we did not, if I recall, give them an A, but we found instead a combination B for them, because a combination B, essentially the on-premise tavern license, allows an unlimited amount of beer and wine sales to go also. Is that correct, City Clerk?
That is correct. And then there was also a plan to expand
Yes.
the
and
dining
that- and-
portion.
And so and that business has since evolved from kind of a deli grocery into a sit-down restaurant that I think is a real asset in the community. I have not spoken about the applicant on this particular thing, and I'm just wondering if might not be a potential avenue for a solution here in this location. Rather than becoming a liquor store, become a sit-down cafe. I'm just putting that out there, so, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Weigel. Any other comments from the Common Council or questions? Okay, seeing none, we will ask if there are any comments or questions from the members of the audience tonight. We ask that you approach the microphone and give us your name and address for our record, please.
Hi, my name is Sunny, and I am the owner of the Walsh's Beer and Liquor. And regarding this matter, because if you guys see that we have liquor store in the West Ellis on 72nd and Greenfield, then we have liquor store on 76th and Greenfield, then there is a liquor store on 81st and Lapham, then there is a open pantry on 87th and Greenfield, then there is a liquor store on 91st and Greenfield. So there is not even, right now, there is not any too big distance from one liquor store to another liquor store. And this, if these guys come at 84th and liquor store, all the neighborhood liquor stores which are already small, they will go really down in business, because it is hard to compete with any small business with the business which is comparatively bigger than their business. That's what I want to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from the audience on this item for public hearing? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Hi, my name Manjeet Singh Dhillon. I have store 92nd and Greenfield Avenue. So my question is, we have too many store this area, so same people going in my store, if you open over here, they hurt my business too, please. So they have too many store. I have a Town Liquor, 84 in Walker there too, and 76 bottom up, and Walsh. The too many store closed almost heavy, so we hurt the business too, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions?
My name is Manjeet Shergill. I live on 82nd and Lincoln. And I work in a liquor store in West Allis Liquor. I find the business is difficult and not really prosperous because there are so many liquor stores in the area, starting from Pick and Save on 68th or 69th, 72nd is ours, 76th is another liquor store, 82nd is a liquor store, 84th is a liquor store, 92nd is a liquor store. There's not enough of a customer base to really satisfy these small businesses. And a new store which comes up, seems to have a prime location now, I think I can say with a lot of certainty that a few of the smaller stores will have to close down. They will not be able to make it. So I seriously object to this proposal, because it will ruin the other businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions on public hearing number 3?
name's Ron Galaska. I live at 1374 South 91st Street. And as they've all said, we have so many liquor stores in this small area, it's ridiculous. They also left out 71st and Beecher. There's a liquor store there. I mean, that's basically within 2 square miles, we have 9 or 10 liquor stores. Pardon? Oh, they closed? Okay. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Yeah, we have so many liquor stores in the area, it's just makes no sense to have one almost every other block. So I basically object to it also. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions on public hearing number 3? Okay, seeing none, we will close our third public hearing, and we will move on to item F on our agenda, citizen participation. This is an opportunity for residents to address the council on any matters of interest to them. We ask that you keep your comments to approximately 5 minutes, and we aim to keep this portion of our agenda to 30 minutes. If there's anyone to address the council under citizen participation.
Yeah, Robert Brown, I'd like to do a follow-up, what I brought up here for the last 2 months, I think it is, or so, is we've taken on, I started by direction of my nonprofit to take on the violence that's been occurring and around the area through the different mosques and different places that's been purchased that take over, and they claim for one thing and they turn out for another. Now, we were in South Milwaukee when they bought that huge Catholic church that encompasses a whole square block. And we went to the Common Council and we told them about what's going to happen, that it will not be just the church, a few people coming in. It's going to be a crowd like you won't believe, because I knew the church moving in, the mosque, I talked to them, they only had 30 people going to move in. Here they got this huge building, takes a square block. Once again, the Commons Council, they didn't hear nothing about it. They knew so much, like always, when anybody comes in, tells them anything, they don't want to listen. Well, we're going back this Friday. Guess what? They got 9 services, different prayer groups coming in, and other teaching people about different Muslim things, how to, I don't want to get into all the things they teach. And we'll be there. We're also got to go back to Cudahy, where we gave them a talk, and we were not well received. And we warned them who's moving in. It was Falah Gulen, and he's the same one Turkey wants to deport for starting this coup there. Now, I don't know who's the good guy, who's the bad guy when it comes to the different Muslims, you know, the Shiites and the other ones fighting each other. But they deported him as a terrorist, and he's moving in now. He'll be, if they approve it in about 10 days, he'll be moving into that huge YMCA building. People just don't know what's coming around the corner. And I wanted to thank all the people publicly that I know where they all came from. I know I had over 100 of them showing up in South Milwaukee. When we went to Cudahy, we were not widely received by some of the aldermen. And actually, when the room was come to point it out, there were 5 or 6 people or 10 to speak up for what I was promoting. And it was filled with 90 Muslims from Chicago, all around the area coming in. They're going to start taking classes, different projects, teaching them about various things. And the same guy that was removed from terrorists, they want to deport back there. He's got 197 schools all over the United States. They get funding from the government, naturally. Obama gives them $1 million a year, 100 million, I should say, a year. And he teaches when they open their meeting, and here's the last thing I want to mention. They open their meetings with, we take a pledge of allegiance, one nation under Allah, not the United States. This is under Allah. And I guarantee you that this is going to spread more and more. Now, we came out of a newsletter, press release today. We pointed out we're not against the peaceful Muslims that practice, go to church and do whatever, that's fine. But when you get these terrorist groups that are coming from every terrorist attack in the United States, in the area has come from a group of people that go to these Muslim terrorist meetings.
Mr. Brown, you have 1 minute remaining.
Okay, I won't even take it. I just hope some people that get interested, when bad things start to happen, you know, we always got people that are like watchdogs that can't tell you this. I mentioned the food pantry before where the city didn't want no part of it because bad people were going to come here. Here we got the Muslims, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with them. We try to be everybody I'm with, I teach to read the Quran. I'm getting to be an expert. I know what it says. I guarantee you it's not a peaceful document. I challenge anybody to read it and find out what happens if you don't follow and become a Muslim at some point in your life. So I just brought it up. I'm through talking about this whole issue, and I think as things start happening, you'll think, yeah, maybe we should have listened, done something. So thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else have citizen participation?
My name is Mark Viceno. I live at 1338 South 65th Street. I wanted to start out by complimenting the License and Health Committee on the way that you've been addressing people that are applying for bartender's license that say they have no arrests, and granted, you guys find out that they've been arrested 10 times. They're just trying to pull the wool over your eyes, and you're seeing that, and you're making motions for denial based on incomplete information. I wanted to bring that up because it seems that kind of fraud is very popular. It goes on quite often. Nobody likes to be had. I've done some research and just pulled up the definition for fraud. It's wrongful or criminal deception intended to result in financial or personal gain, like getting a license. When they fill out any kind of liquor license application or bartender's application, they need to sign that truth of statement. That basically says that the information is all true, it's punishable by law, and in addition, any license granted shall be subject to revocation, and no alcohol beverage license of any kind whatsoever shall thereafter be granted for a period of 1 year. That truth of statement is also on bars that go after a liquor license. I got the application from the city clerk. It states that you must list every member, principal, owner, whether it's an LLC, a partnership, a corporation, and as well as sign a truth in statement. It's got to be completed by each member or manager of the LLC. And again, you've got to sign that truth in statement at the bottom. They give you 2 of them in case you've got multiple partners. And then you've got another one, schedule of appointment of an agent, where you list the agent that you want, and the owners or members or managers must sign the bottom. I bring that to your attention because on June 21st, I stood before you explaining the situation with the 6500 Bar and Grill. You guys voted on a narrow margin to approve that liquor license. Again, like I said before, new names, same game. Since then, I did some research and I sent each one of the 5 members of the License and Health Committee an email that had links that named the true owners of that bar. Alderman Vitale brought up what the MLM stand for, and nobody had a clue. Well, I found out that those were the initials of the 2 owners. Now, one of the guys, Mr. M, we'll call him, used to own a bar in Milwaukee. His license was revoked. The agent that was in front of you folks, or looking to be the agent of the bar, was his bartender at that East Side bar, if you remember she mentioned. Now, they revoked his license, and I went on there, and again, you folks had all the links. I hope you got all the emails between the 5 of you guys and the city attorney. None of you guys responded back with a thank you or nothing, but I didn't expect that. But this bar was located at 2525 North Holton. The letters that the residents wrote, I'm just going to read a few of these things for you. Noise, litter, cursing, shootings, sometimes resulting in death. Another one wrote, great concern over the years, loitering, beeping of horns, public urination, incessant talking and arguing at the top of their lungs. You know, these are all things that I brought up in front of the committee for the last 2 years. Every single thing on here, except for that shooting part.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Another one, you know, shots fired, disrespect to the neighborhood, noise early in the morning. Another one, shooting, fighting, arguing, racing up and down the street. You know, it's interesting because you voted and you said that this property is not a nuisance property. I've talked to 2 sergeants at the police department and a lieutenant, and I've talked to officers that were regular beat officers, and they all told me that that is a nuisance property. So somewhere down the line, I think you guys need to talk with the police department, get on the same page, and realize that this is a nuisance property. They were fraudulent in getting their license. You've got the facts of the true owners. They lied in their truth in statement, which gives you folks the right to revoke their license. Nobody wants to go to court, but the only thing that's missing from here is shootings. And if you guys are waiting for shootings at the 6500 bar, you know, it's going to happen, trust me. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to participate under citizen participation this evening?
Hi, my name is Jim Cottrell. I'm the owner of Vape 108, a vape shop located at 1475 South 108th Street. I'd like to speak just a bit on the ordinance 2016-0011, number 79 on tonight's agenda. Over the years, smoking has been banned in most public places, and I agree that that's a good idea. Unlike smoking, vaping is not yet banned. In 0011, it will soon be banned in everywhere that you can't smoke in West Dallas today. I understand that because even when I was a smoker, I wasn't happy when I ordered a nice dinner, sat down, and before my meal came, the people next to me lit up and I was in a cloud of smoke. I believe I felt trapped in a situation where I had either to give up my meal or bear the smoking. I think that should be nearly the same with vaping. There is one exception to that I think I'd like to put forward here. In a vape shop where vaping is the product of my source of revenue, people don't ever get into a trapped scenario like that. You would never come here if you didn't want to vape or already do vape. So there's not a fact where someone that doesn't want to be around it would get caught in that store. They're there because they want to be there. They're there because they're over 18, and they're there because they feel that vaping is an alternative to smoking, and most of them, in fact, all of them at this point, feel that it's a safer alternative. Since I stood before several of you on February 23rd at the License and Health Committee meeting, many new research papers have been published supporting vaping as an acceptable alternative nicotine delivery system. In the UK, the medical community is now prescribing vaping to those patients that wish to quit smoking, as they now feel that vaping is at least 95 to 99% safer than smoking, and possibly one of the greatest medical breakthroughs in recent history. I recently sent all of the alderpersons an email with several articles to back up these claims, including the link to the report from the Royal College of Physicians in an email dated 7/20. Part of that email was an invitation to come visit my shop to see what a real vape shop looks like. And that invitation is still open for any of you today or in the future that may want to see what a real vape shop is. And I feel it's far different than anything you may have seen to date. I make this offer so you might understand my position and how this law will cripple my ability to furnish these products to adults that so desperately want to kick the cigarette habit. There is far more to discuss in teaching someone how to properly use these devices than I have time allotted here tonight. I can assure you, vaping helps people quit smoking. I personally smoked for 35 years, and through those years I tried to quit, but nothing worked for me. In April of 2012, I almost died. My doctor saved my life, but explained I needed to quit smoking. I was only able to do so with the help of an e-cigarette. I still vape today, nearly 4 years later, because I enjoy it. I also enjoy the community that vaping brings and the people I have met. At Vape 108, we provide a very welcoming environment where vapors get to interact with other people, share knowledge, share experiences, and it's all part of the community building we do. There's several items that need to be accomplished to show someone how to properly use this. If they truly want to quit, they have to walk out of my store enjoying using this with an understanding of how to use this equipment.
You have 1 minute remaining.
That was part of the mission statement that we had when we opened. If it's not done correctly, most people go back to their old habits. Although we seem to disagree that vaping is a safer alternative than smoking, I'm not here to debate that. What I am here is to ask that some way in this ordinance, we get the opportunity to either grandfather or accept or exempt vape shops as to cut our ability to vape and show the people how to do it properly would really hinder our ability to teach, train, and give these people the opportunity to have an option to quit smoking. I ask for some kind of change to the verbiage of the 2011 or the 002, which is basically a combined unit, to allow some kind of grandfather clause or exemption, whatever is a legal verb to use in this case. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Does anybody else wish to take part in citizen participation this evening?
Hello, my name is Matthew Newkirk. I live at 11200 West Cleveland Avenue. I also work at Infinite Vapor, located 2719 South 108th Street. I've worked there since open almost 2.5 years ago now. I too am concerned about the ordinance 0-2016-0011. I guess we're here tonight to basically, we understand people should not be vaping in places like Walmart, McDonald's, et cetera, and we understand, you know, it can be a hindrance to other people who don't vape, but in certain places like vapor shops, e-cigarette stores, we need to be able to not only have the people try the devices, try the flavors, the nicotine levels, et cetera, to see where to place them in order for them to quit smoking. Because without knowledge, without attempting to try it, no one will quit smoking. And as we all know, I'm sure everybody here knows someone who's had battles with health issues revolving around smoking. And we're just trying to make a difference, one person at a time. And like I said, like Jim was saying, we don't necessarily think banning it in places of public where people, it could be a nuisance to people who don't vape. We don't see that as being an issue, but more as the fact that it stops us from helping those people who do want to quit smoking. Because anyone who comes into our shop, as he mentioned, they're coming there with the strict understanding they want to quit smoking. They just need more information and get a better understanding of what electronic cigarettes or vaping is. So we just ask that you take that into consideration, and you guys, any day that I work, you're more than welcome to come in and get more information. I'm a well-known person in the vaping community, and I would love to leave my information for any of you to contact me at any point if you wanted any more information on this. But I won't waste any more of you guys' time. I just hope that you will take an honest look at it, and thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak under citizen participation?
Hi, my name is Chris Dahl. I live at 1428 South 86th Street. My concern is the item number 41 about gardening. Apologize for the upset neighbor who's created this issue. But I, again, invite any of you to come see my property. I don't consider it a nuisance, and the neighbors that I've spoken to also don't have a problem with it, except for the one. And I guess that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak under citizen participation this evening? Okay, seeing none, we will close citizen participation. And we will move on to item G. Our standing committees will be meeting during recess. Those room numbers are listed on page 2 of your agendas. Mayor's report, item H. I just want to quickly thank all of those in the community that took time to either volunteer at National Night Out or host a block party in their neighborhood for National Night Out. We had, I think it was 46 block parties going on. I want to thank Lieutenant Saftig and Lisa Bergman from the Community Services Bureau of the Police Department, and all of the volunteers that played McGruff. And I want to thank the Milwaukee Brewers for sending out their free ice cream truck to a lot of the block parties in the neighborhood as well. It was a great night of community spirit and a great message of saying no to crime and nuisances in our community. And I would just continue, as I know the Common Council as well does, to encourage residents to step up and get involved in their neighborhoods, and whether it's a block watch or a neighborhood association or whatever capacity, the neighborhoods in West Allis are only going to be as strong as the activeness of the residents in the city. So as we continue to move forward in this community and have a lot of great things happening, we also need the residents to be involved. So I'll just close that up with another plea to encourage residents to make a difference in their city. Concludes the mayor's report this evening. Do we have any reports from the alderpersons?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
I've sat here the last few meetings listening to Mr. Brown spew his bigoted venom regarding Muslims and the Muslim faith. And my father served in World War II. I have uncles that served in World War II. My grandson just returned from his tour in the Navy. That has no place in our society. Our fathers, our sons, our grandsons have fought to preserve our Constitution, and while I respect Mr. Brown's First Amendment rights to say his mind and to speak his piece, I hope we all also respect the articles regarding freedom of religion. And I want to express to all in this community that West Allis does not support his views, that we are an open community. We welcome people of all faiths, all ethnicities, all colors, all sexual orientation, and we are not going to be led by someone with bigoted views like him. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Beautifully stated what needed to be said. Any other, anyone want to follow that?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Probst.
Although a little anticlimactic. Thank you very much, Alderman Lysick, for saying what you said. You beat me to it. I just would like to announce that on Saturday, excuse me, Saturday, August 13th, the McCarty-Dale Neighborhood Association will be holding its meeting at 10 a.m. at Randy's Neighbor Inn, and this month we'll be holding guest speaker Judge Paul Murphy to come in. So anybody in the 2nd District in the McCarty-Dale area, please make sure that you mark your calendars for 10 a.m. on the 13th. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other alderpersons' reports?
Mayor Devine.
Alderman Lysick.
I move for approval of the minutes of the Common Council regular meeting of July 5th, 2016.
Second.
There's a motion with a second by Alderperson Probst. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item K on your agendas, I'll ask for a motion to place item 5 on file and refer items 6 and 7 to the city attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman May, second by Alderman Barzak. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Standing committee reports, Administration and Finance.
I'll read those out after recess.
Thank you, Alderman Haas. Item M.
Mayor Devine, I move that we stand in recess until conclusion of the committee meetings.
Second.
It's a motion with a second by Alderperson Reinke. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in recess.